welcome everyone to the pre-season of this new AOR season. We're at Spa-Francorchamps today for a pre-season race of the GT3 rounds. Spa, located in Stavelot of Belgium. This 20-turn, 7-kilometre track is an absolute beast, and today I have a co-commentator with me. I have Alex.
Good evening everyone, welcome to this very special race at AOR GT3. This is shaping up to be a very interesting race this evening with 16 competitors, all in varied GT3 cars, varying from V6 turbos to V8s, ranging from 480 to 520 horsepower cars. And this is going to be a long race, an hour and 20 minutes with high degradation on the tyres, lots of cars running high fuel, many strategies at play between 1 and maybe even 2 stops. Running heavy fuel means the cars will be unstable and difficult to drive early in the race, and will become lighter and faster as the race goes on, with tyre degradation playing a huge part this evening. Some cars will probably conserve their tyres and try and save time through the race to avoid making a second pit stop. Will have varying speeds and times ranging all the way from the 223s down to the 218s this evening.
Yeah, that's a great insight there, as we have some qualifying laps finally coming in, as AOR GT3 first to get provisional pole, the number 50 car with a 220.6. You can see Gaz, he has just come out of Ravage into Liège corner. He's in the number 75 Mercedes. Gaz is a great driver, so he will be one to contend with. We have 15 of the 16 cars out on track, make that 16. As we will see, probably 2 runs of the drivers, as Alex said. Very high degradation today, so that's going to be the key point of this race.
And with this being autumn as well, the track's a bit cold, so if this race transitions into night with high time progression, tyre temperatures are going to play a huge factor in this race. If the tyres get cold, as we all know, they will start to lose traction, so some cars might not run as well earlier in the race because they've got their car set up to work their tyres harder as the time progresses into the night.
Yeah, of course, different times you have very different car behaviour between temperatures. Of course, cars that are good in the day will start probably sliding about at night, and cars that are good at night might overheat a little bit on the tyres during the day. As Gaz comes out of Blanchiment up to the bus stop. What time are we going to see from him with just over 8 minutes left in this session? Very nicely stopped into turn 20. So he fires it out. We'll see what time he does and where he goes. That was his outlap. No, it wasn't. 230.3. As we see Ben there getting out the way of some cars.
A lot of traffic on the screen at the moment.
RS has a 2-place grid penalty for whatever that is, whether it's it's a pit lane violation, so he's been speeding in the pits somewhere.
That's the last thing you want in a long race like this, to pick up a grid penalty for speeding or cutting the track before the start.
Yeah, of course, it's probably not as bad in a race this long. It'd be worse if you've got a 20-minute race or something. He has time to make it up, but still, you never want to be demoted before it even starts.
Whoever qualifies first is definitely going to be vulnerable coming through Radion and then Eau Rouge, then Radion up to Les Combes. There's such a long run up there. Cars with low downforce are really going to see some straight line speed improvements, especially with low drag.
Yeah, you're always vulnerable due to a very, very long slipstream, as we see William got a tad deep into the bus stop and slide all the way around the second part of it and out of it. Oh, whether that's effect of the car in front or perhaps his car is just a tad slidey, but he does a 227.
If it's that difficult to drive during the race, he will likely be spinning, trying hard to pass cars during the race. I mean, an unstable car is something you don't want in a race this long. You want something stable and steady and something that can be consistent more than anything.
Yeah, you want consistency over fast but may crash in a long race. To see Ben, as he's unstable through Les Combes.
Big wiggle there.
Keeps it out of the wall. He's going to keep going as he comes into Malmedy. The bollards are already gone. It's still
He's going
wiggling
to be
through
frustrated with
Malmedy.
himself for that one.
Yeah, there's not a lot of time, so he might decide to come in at the end of this. Didn't look too bad through Ravage. What's it going to be like into Liège? Still, you can see him putting some opposite lock on. So, not happy with it.
I've had some experience with the Ferrari myself before, and it is quite a stable car normally, but maybe they've made some last-minute changes to the setup of the car, and it's just maybe not improved their ability to get around the track. Obviously, a lot of pressure on before the start of this race. It might be overdriving the car, trying to get a good lap in.
Yeah, that could be a possibility, as Gaz takes provisional pole with a 2:18.5, 1.4 faster than second. So he has
a solid time, that is from Gaz. I know, having personal experience racing with him, he is very fast, consistently.
Yeah, I know you're paying. I was teammates with Gaz for a long time. He's not an easy man to beat.
No, it is frustrating. There's something he does with the car, there's something he knows that is just... You know, his driving style must just really suit this particular game.
Yeah, Gaz was always so good in GT cars. It was very rare that I could beat him. As Ben comes into the bus stop. Of course, we've seen him have a scrappy lap, but he's opting to keep going rather than come in and try and get another lap in.
Another wiggle out of the bus stop as well. Lots of cars losing traction through there.
Yeah, as he puts himself 11th with a 21.4. As it stands, that would be 10th with RS's penalty. A bunch of drivers have come into the pits. As Chicano, looks like he's just come out of the pits. So we'll be warming up for a second lot of runs. Everyone will be getting ready to try and improve on their grid position.
How many minutes do we have left in the session?
We have just over 4 minutes, so this is about the time people come out. They'll take a pretty easy out lap, and then try and floor. You can see they're not even weaving, not trying to heat the tyres up, just go around.
That's only enough time really for 2 laps and an out lap.
Yeah, you'd think Ben, unless he goes for another push lap, isn't gonna get back in to do another one.
We've got a couple of cars looking really off the pace line. Oh, a big slide there from the Lamborghini.
Yeah, very off through the Liège corner. Somehow kept it out of the barriers, which is very impressive. Went on board with him just at the right time. So here is Knox in the Ferrari. Number 53. Drives all the way up to
had a graze with the wall already this lap.
Yeah. Probably not the cleanest. It seems a lot of people are struggling. Perhaps the track is a bit cold. He's even sliding through Blanchimont, which is where a car should work well. See him come up to the bus stop. I'm not sure if he's on a lap or this is his out lap, but we'll watch him anyway. One of the cleanest exit of bus stops.
Tidier.
Yeah, very clean out bus stop. We've seen a lot of people slide in and going sideways out of there. Well, stick with him for this lap. Sean in second is in the pits. He's not going to get out. He slotted himself second with a 19.2, 7/10 off of Gaz.
A lot of cars haven't conceded defeat yet. I only see 3 cars in the pits right now. A lot of people still want to improve.
Yeah. 13 out on track. With a 9th, 16th and 2nd in the pits. So they might have been running alternate times and won't be able to get out just now. You can see Knox into Lacombe. This is where we saw Ben have a massive slide earlier.
Oh, a little wiggle there from the Ferrari.
Sliding on the way out. Looks a bit cleaner through Malmedy. Down the hill towards Ravage. And looks not too bad through there. Up towards the Liège corner where we saw the Lamborghini go off earlier. He's managed to keep it on the black stuff.
The curbs are very slippery here. You do not want to be running wide if you can help it.
Yeah, not the easiest of track 4 curbs. Some of them are quite high and quite dangerous. So see him come up to the Fania chicanes. A bit tentative on the way in, doesn't take much of the apex. And Stavlo, this is an important corner. because it'll be a run all the way down to the bus stop, flat out through Paul Frere. And now it's just a blast down to the bus stop as William has gone second with a 19.0. So
that's a good time.
Yeah,
only half a second off Gaz.
Should get a front row start with Gaz unless someone else can improve.
That's a good position to be in because he could drag him all the way up the first really long straight section in this race. Potentially take first going into Les Combes.
Yeah, as long as he gets a good start. Where's Knox going to put himself for this lap? He's 14th, goes 7th. There is C48. He must just have started a lap. There's Double Tough, but he was in the pits when he saw him, so I wonder if he's just going out for an exploratory lap, because he's not going to get a lap in.
That NSX has seen the wall at least once this evening already.
And we pick up Gaz as he comes towards the bus stop. And the number 75 Mercedes AMG. Looks like even he is susceptible to a little slide. Is he going to improve? He does by just under a 10th into an 18.4.
That is a very fast time, that is.
Yeah, and here is Jan, also in the Mercedes AMG. He's currently on a 99 in 6th place. RSA pets, so it looks like it's just gonna be Jan to set a time. Unless Knox goes round again. Flat through Blanchimont. Bit of correction. Opposite lock.
He's in 6th right now, he could improve.
Yeah,
1.5 seconds off the pace.
He fires it out at the bus stop. Where is this going to put him? He crosses the line 6th. He goes 6th with a slight improvement. Doesn't move him up, but he's cut about a 10th off the lap.
Well, that looks like we're all finished with qualifying now.
Yeah, as Double is only just coming up to the bus stop, so he's not going to get a time in.
No, he's just cruising around. He's given up.
Yeah, it's going to cross line and it will end the session, and that'll be it for now.
It's fairly tight at the front of the grid. It's going to be interesting to see how people progress over the course of the race.
RS holds his 2-place grid penalty, which will put him into last. Gaz in the middle sector is so much quicker than anyone else. So he takes pole with William in 2nd, completing the front row. We have Sean in 3rd and SC in 4th in the NSX. He is by far the highest of any of the NSX runners. So we go to the grid now and we will wait for the race to start.
It's an all Mercedes front row here, so clearly the Mercedes must like this track. A lot of the Mercs nearer the front as well as the Ferraris.
And this is Gaz's view, a clean view down to the source. Then there's William. He will be looking at Gaz, thinking, if I can stay behind him, I've got a slipstream all the way down to Les Combes and have a great chance.
We've got our 2-minute waiting period now while drivers lock in their strategies and ready up for the start of this race.
Yeah, it's a slightly dull period before the race, but once this is all done, we will have 75 minutes of racing at Spa-Francorchamps. Hopefully it's going to be a good race, a full grid. We've seen some good racing here before.
I'm curious to see how that NSX is going to perform, because that is the only car near the front that isn't a Ferrari or a Mercedes.
Yeah, it does seem a tad out of place, that NSX. I've never thought of it to be a great car, but SL's managed to put it in 4th, which is a great effort. As you can see, it is just Ferraris and Mercedes around them.
Mid-engine versus front-engine cars, V8s versus turbo V6.
You can see there's an NSX in 15th. I'm just wondering if that is the only other one in the grid. So 4th and 15th. Very, very mixed for the Acuras.
Not a huge variety of cars though. If I'm not mistaken, there's only Ferraris, Acuras, and Mercedes on the grid.
Yeah,
Oh, there's
there's
one
a
BMW.
BMW at the back, that's RS, who takes his penalty. There's a couple
Oh yeah,
of
and there's two
Lamborghinis.
Lamborghinis.
Nothing else though, there's no Porsches or anything. So, not a
Well,
mixed
the
spread,
Porsche
but...
can. I was going to say the Porsche can be a handful with it being rear engines. There might be a reason nobody's picked that. All right.
As you've seen before, they will do a formation lap. Hopefully this is a bit quicker than the one we saw in MRC.
It's a very long lap this. It will probably take about 3+ minutes to get round on this formation lap.
Yeah, as we saw, it was only a 2:18 that took pole. As we also see in the F1, drivers don't even do a cool down lap here, they just turn around and go into the pits. It's that long.
If I'm not mistaken, they're limited to 80 miles an hour on this formation lap.
Yeah, about 80 mile an hour. You'll probably be penalised if you're going too slow or being a danger. And they'll all probably form up around Blanchimont, and then as soon as they get out the final corner, it's up to Gaz when they go.
And with it being autumn and the temperatures being a bit low, it'll be important to weave and keep temperature in those tyres and brakes for the start of the race.
Yeah, they'll be weaving, braking, accelerating, all while weaving. It's very easy to, despite some people's beliefs, it's very, very easy to crash while doing this.
Yeah, you could give it a little bit too much effort. Fernando Alonso in 2006 nearly walled it at his home race for being too enthusiastic trying to warm the tyres.
Yeah, Fernando's nearly crashed twice on formation laps in F1, just giving it too much. So it is a testament that just shows it is not as easy as people think, even doing this. As we're down to 15 before we've started.
Oh dear, we already had a disconnect already, that's a shame.
We have.
Oh, that's disappointing for that driver.
See roughly. Not too familiar with names yet, but I'm trying to see if we can see what car it is. No, it's
well, these cars are trailing a bit far behind. They could do with closing up a little bit.
Yeah, there is double. You can see he can't even see a fault in the next car.
Maybe he's adhering to the mile an hour limit a bit strictly, so he hasn't caught up to the back of everybody.
Yeah, or he could be doing something that I personally used to do, slow right down at one point, fly up to the back of people, so you do 1 or 2 corners at racing speed. It was something I personally used to do a lot, but he does seem to have closed up a little bit now, so he's back with the pack. As we're approaching Blanchimont, so we are not far from this race start, almost 3 minutes gone, and we're getting close to going.
Hopefully there's no turn 1 incidents before the race has even truly got going.
No, you'd hope being a slightly longer race, people would try and be sensible and know there's a long time to make stuff up.
Oh, Max Verstappen proved that on Sunday this past week, ploughing into the side of Kimi Raikkonen.
Yeah, it's not all won on lap 1 in a race that is over an hour. As you can see, they are starting to form up now. Gaz has the right hand side, which will be the inside for La Source. So you come out of the bus stop, we're about to go racing as soon as Gaz goes for it. And he has now gone for it.
And we're racing!
Managed to keep first, we'll keep an eye out for anything happening in the midfield. Looks to be all clean so far.
Oh, it's tight through there.
There's one of the NSXs off, going out wide, taking the Kimi line. That's SCL. I think he's managed to keep fourth. In fact, he's side by side with Sean. Has to back out of that one. See if... So it looks like Ben might now have a run. Is he going to do anything? We've got Jan behind Ben in the Mercedes.
Oh, this is looking tight.
So looks like Ben is side by side, but he might have to go the long way around while SEL
Oh,
actually looked at
had a
Sean.
look.
While being attacked, it had a look at Sean. Sean has had to go over the bumps. That's dropped him down to 6th place.
It's not something you want happening in a long race like this at the start, but I'm sure he'll have
Oh,
plenty of time
that's...
to get. Oh, one of the Ferraris has a spin! Oh, big crash!
Yeah, Ferrari's gone off, taken, his RS has gone off. He's been collected by Knox at Malmedy. It's a dangerous
that's
corner.
Definitely got suspension damage.
Yeah, they're both going to have to crawl back to the pit very early on for this race. Not what you want on lap 1. Especially horrible for Double, who is or RS even, who is a innocent victim in all of that. It gets collected, but Gaz already nearly 1.5 seconds.
He's just a machine, Gaz is. We've seen a move. Ooh! Nearly getting his nose chopped off there.
Yeah. Carl nearly getting the front taken off of him by Greg. Greg now looking at Evil Dragon. I will learn these people's names one day, if I am ever invited back to commentate here, but Gaz already with 2 seconds. What are we looking at? Ben has SEL looking at him up towards Blanchimont. Is there going to be a move into the bus stop? Potentially. Looks like he's a bit too far back.
No, not this time.
Thinks better of that one. Jan is also close to SE. Sean, as you can see, dropped all the way back to 6th after his excursion at Lacombe. So it looks like Greg might be going for a move on Evil, but he's going to be around the outside for the source. He could always perform a cut back. Slightly ahead going into it. Is he going to brake late enough? Goes deep. He's been given the room.
Respect there between drivers. No contact made.
That was a great move by Greg to go around the outside at Lacombe. As you can see, RS and Knox into the pits, as we suspected they would be. Looks like this mid-pack here, sort of all the way down 6th, down to about 11th, 12th, is where most of it is going on right now.
That Lamborghini might have a look.
Yeah, just over 2/10 by. Doesn't look like he's quite close enough. Of course, we saw MC going sideways at Liège. Oh, and that's Evil
we've got
following Sean. Going off. Of course, it's hard to... Oh, there's Sean also off again. So he's not had the great time at Lacombe. It's not as easy to rejoin at Lacombe, because as cars are going to go and swinging left from Almaday, you're rejoining there.
I wonder if Sean sustained any damage on the first lap and that's why he's run wide at Lacombe.
It could be. It's not like someone to do the same thing twice, 2 laps in a row. But he's down to 12th after starting 3rd, so he's not had the greatest 2 laps. As we see,
NSX is hanging on well. Will's dropped back. Will was 2nd. Ben is now ahead of Will, and that NSX is looking racy.
Yeah, Ben has managed to pass Will up into 2nd. SCL in the NSX looks like he's hanging on. We saw him close into the bus stop last lap, but they both got a bit wide out of Paul Frere. So
Gaz has already maintained a 2.3 second gap to 2nd place in just 2 laps.
Yeah, Gaz has flown off while everyone else is squabbling. He's driven away. As Will's very wide out of Blanchimont. Does that a few too many times and he will be hit with a time penalty. So the SEL not close enough this time. Anyone else making a move?
Really closing up on that Ferrari.
Yeah, as we could also see MC passing Evil sometime soon. And we could see Evil even passing the Mercedes in front.
The more they squabble, the closer that Lamborghini's going to get as well.
Yeah, Sean has managed to move himself ahead of Fott, so he's made up 1 place from his mistakes. As SCL and William nose to tail through Eau Rouge, the NSX and the AMG. Are we going to get a move this time? Who has the better straight line speed? Right now, it seems like the Mercedes is the faster car in a straight.
We go for a move. You had to think about it.
I think's better of it.
Oh, he might have outbraked himself.
Yeah, William braked a bit late, whether that was in defence or perhaps he was thinking of a move for Ben. But it's status quo, but it looks like SEL's had a decent run out of Malmedy. Any chance of a move into Ravage? No, still thinks better of it. See further back, Evil is still ahead of MC. They're hanging on
And
there.
still maintaining that 3-second gap to Gaz. Maybe Gaz is just managing that gap at the moment, not trying to push too hard too early.
As Greg has managed to move himself up to 6th ahead of AOR in his Ferrari. Moving up to 6th with the 68 Mercedes. So we've got some close battles all the way through the field. We're just going to have to see who makes the moves. So this is the farthest up battle, William and SCL.
Really coming under pressure from that NSX.
Yeah, he's driving the wheels off of it. Whether he just needs a... He's had a good run out of Stavlo. Can he hold the momentum through Paul Frere? Doesn't look like it. Seems like he's had to back off, flashing the lights. Either he's unhappy or trying to be a distraction.
Telling him to get on with it.
Yeah, you can see the Ferrari ahead driving away. We already have 2 cars with penalties. SCL and Evil, both with 1 second penalties. And going wide like that's not going to help again. Penalties is something we're going to have to keep an eye on, because by the end of this, who knows what size of penalties people could have. William didn't have the
to get back past that Ferrari.
Yeah, this is turning into a 3-horse battle. Ben's not driven away in the fashion he would have hoped to. As now Sean has a penalty. SL had a look. Oh. It was enough to make William not turn in.
A Ferrari got another sort of gap, or like sort of another car length or 2 coming out of La Source there. They might be safe coming into Le Con this time round.
Yeah, William thought there was a threat from SCL and it was enough to give Ben a little bit of a gap. But William is closing back in. He's catching at a good pace. Ben defends to the inside for Le Con. William's going to pull to the outside. Is he far enough along to try a move? He's trying to go all the way around the outside. Doesn't do it. He's gone deep. SCL's going to go around the outside of Le Con. He's got the inside for Malmedy. William's still hanging on, but no, SCL has done it. He's up to 3rd with a move into Malmedy. So William, after starting 2nd, has dropped down to 4th. He's out of the podium positions as it stands.
Well, that NSX may be working its tyres harder than we know, and that may come into play later in the race.
Yeah, and MC is up to 9th. He's passed Evil in his Lamborghini. So, as he...
Oh, running wide there.
Oh, nearly...
Oh, no! Oh, my goodness! Oh, oh, no, the Ferrari's wheel! Oh, that's a 3-car crash.
Sean had a slight catch on that Lamborghini, but...
Oh, no!
That
Lamborghini is bent now.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not sure how Evil's car looks. His doesn't look that bad. The front end's a bit skewed. But you think the Lamborghini has come off worse. It was the one who hit the wall. Oh, as Evil is round.
And there's a spin from Evil.
As he gets off the track in time. So
that is the annoying part about the physics in this game. Once you touch, the cars seem to just glue together.
Yeah, that's always been an issue of project cars. You touch and your cars are just stuck. William still on the back of SCL. Is he going to think about a repass?
Oh, he's run deep into the bus stop.
Oh, that's SCL round. He's round at the bus stop.
Oh, that's frustrating.
Gets it back on the flex spin, drops down to 9th place behind Greg, who's up to 5th. He's had a great start.
Well, that gives Wilson breathing room now, and he might be able to get his head down and get back past that Ferrari.
Yeah, it looked like Will had the pace to catch Ben, but SCL, as we've seen, spin, he's going to have to get some work to do. There is Sean into the pits, so that touch...
Clearly he sustained damage.
Yeah, all 3 into the pits, so clearly that... What looked like relatively small touch with Sean is enough to force him in. Here's race leader Gaz into the column, has 4.5 seconds. There is 2nd place Ben, who looks like he's already been caught a fair bit by William, so that's going to be a developing battle. As Greg is closed into Jan and is going for 4th place.
Greg has been looking increasingly racy since the start of this. I can't remember what position he started in, but he's definitely made up some good places. Oh, and that NSX looking very loose there.
Yeah, only a few corners after losing it at a bus stop. He nearly lost it at Malmedy, but he's gathered it all together.
He might have touched the wall when he had his spin, and he may have sustained some rear suspension damage. I'm sure the back of that car hit the wall,
Yeah.
and that might be what's really putting him off right now.
He definitely gave the wall a bit of a tap when he did his flick spin, so whether that's just tweaked something a little bit, but it doesn't look too
And he'd already
happy.
passed the pits, so he's having to do a whole lap, potentially, of a damaged car.
Yeah, whether he does have damage and want to come in, he's had to do an entire lap, or whether he's just all over the place. But Greg, we see, right behind Jan, equal machinery. Yeah, I can't remember where Greg started, but I don't think it was that high up, so to be in 5th is a good drive so far.
That gap getting smaller and smaller. These two are going to have a little tangle soon.
Yeah, Air and... I'm just going to call him Carl, because it's obviously Carl Fogarty, and I don't know his name, so I'm just going to call him Carl for now. I'm sure I'll get a name list if I'm back. But it looks
There
like
might be a
Air's...
move into the bus stop.
Air got a bit wiggly out of Blanchimont.
Can he do him under the brakes? No.
Not quite close enough.
Oh, he had to hesitate there because the Ferrari was so slow out the bus stop.
Yeah, he has a chance all the way down to Lacombe. He's not close enough for the source. You can see he's already catching a lot in this straight, so that Mercedes is definitely a quick car in the straights.
Definitely. Oh, and a half spin there. Oh,
Yeah,
what
so
a shame. So he'd have just lost all that time.
So his chance is gone. What about Greg's chance? He's gained
He's
time.
looking very fast through there.
Yeah, he's gained a lot of time at the top of Radion. He's closing.
Surely this time round
the
at
slipstream.
Come on.
Gaining, not massively, but he's
in.
gaining. It was enough for Jan to defend, but Greg tucks back in. Will go again. Very differing lines into Malmedy, but seems to be working for both.
There's not a lot of good overtaking opportunities here because the corners are so fast.
Yeah, you're very limited in overtaking opportunities. Of course, you can be creative, but you just have your sort of regular overtaking spots like turn 1, bus stop, end of the straight. But you know, you can get creative into some of the corners, like we saw Alex Albon do with his move on Daniel Ricciardo into Liège.
Very much so.
It takes a lot to do one of those. You'll want to just do a slipstream pass.
I think with the GT3 cars, due to the nature of them, unless you've got a big difference in pace, you just have to get a good overlap and do it under the brakes a lot of the time.
Yeah, after his...
Cars don't have enough downforce to do an outside sort of move on these faster turns for the most part.
Yeah, after his exciting start, we'll say, Sean is in 10th, 22 seconds behind the next car. See, Greg already got the gap back down to 9/10ths to Jan, so he's closing in. What about the gap for the podium? 3.5. So it's gone up a little bit since we last checked in, but about the same as it was when this battle started.
A lot of drivers are probably starting to settle into their rhythm now, as it's still 57 minutes into this race.
Yeah, we've already done about, well, 15-ish minutes of racing if you take out the formation lap. We'll see what penalties people have. SCL's on up to a 3-second penalty. Sean is on a 2-second penalty, and Evil still only on that 1-second penalty.
How many more penalties can they pick up before they would get a major time penalty? Is 3 seconds 3 slowdowns that have been ignored?
I'm not actually too sure on what the process of those rules are, but I'm sure we'll keep an eye on them through the timing screen. As this is Greg already onto the back of Jan again. Not close enough for a move this time. You can see
not
SCL.
As close as he was last time.
No, you can see
Still
SCL.
very much on his gearbox though.
Yeah, just within a couple of tenths. I'm sure he'll try and close through the middle of this lap. See whether there's a move going into the start of next lap or down that Kemmel straight, as someone else has a penalty. RS has a penalty. He's already picked up 2 seconds straight away.
I believe it's a 3 strikes and you're out philosophy with this game. So they want to be careful because too many slowdowns. Obviously, if you've got to let out the gas for it to release the penalty, A lot of the time you lose more time letting it go, and 3 penalties, it can be quite hefty, the time penalty that it'll give you. As Greg now looking closer than he has been across this lap.
Yeah, about 3 tenths back. He's going to need to get a good run out of Stavolo or up Radion to try and do something. Of course, they're an equal machinery. Of course, the setups might be slightly different, as we see Double in the pits there. He's not had a great race, down in 14th.
These two are the closest on track right now between any other cars.
Yeah.
And Greg is still 3-4 tenths. It might be a move into the bus stop here.
Both gone a bit wide. Greg, little sort of squirrel on the exit. Not close enough to make a move. Jan's gone slightly deeper. Greg takes a tighter line, but almost looked like he lost himself time with that.
Onto the slippery stuff.
Yeah, while Greg's been held up behind Jan, SCL has closed in a second, so he's looking to get back up there in his Acura.
If Greg gets a good exit out of La Source. Oh, a little wiggle there.
Yeah, that's not the type of exit he would need. But he's going to slipstream all the way down into Eau Rouge and up Radion. Probably not close enough for a move unless he gets an amazing run or Jan messes up. No, doesn't look like we're going to get anything.
That NSX might come into play in a few laps more.
Yeah, the more these two squabble and Jan takes defensive lines here and there, or Greg gets held up, that's going to bring SCL and the NSX back into this.
Do you think Greg's getting held up, or do you think Jan's just about got the pace to stay with him?
I'll say Greg's definitely held up a bit, but it's not that much. I'd say he has a slight pace advantage. Yeah, it'd just be a very, very small pace advantage, I would say, if anything. But Greg's dropped off a little bit through that complex of corners. Oh,
might be the dirty air through the high-speed corners is ruining his front end. Will there, still in third, 12 seconds back from the lead, and about 3 or 4 seconds behind Ben. He's keeping it consistent at the moment, at least.
Yeah. Since we checked in, that gap's gone up by about 8 or 9 tenths, but he's still within striking range. A mistake from Ben or anything could give him another chance. We're down to 13. I think that was Double who's retired. As this is Greg, 1/10 behind Jan onto the back straight.
Surely he's got to make a move this time round.
He's got the left-hand
side. He might even get it
side.
done before the bus stop.
He's on the left, he's got the inside for Blanchimont. Are they going to stick it out too wide, the fastest corner on the track?
Oh, and he goes wide. Very
Greg's
wide,
yeah. Jan's gone wide, he's got the inside for the bus stop now.
No, he's letting him go by. Giving him space.
All the way around the outside
Greg getting
of the
a little wiggle there. That NSX is right on the back of Jan now.
Yeah, the NSX has a chance, he's going to look in to the source. That Mercedes seems a bit faster. Is he going to pull it to the inside? Yes, and he goes past.
Just about gets it stopped.
Just about. Jan, 2 corners, 2 positions lost. Now,
it's
SCL.
Very frustrating when you're a driver. But yeah. Is he going to do him back up the Kemmel straight?
Yeah, we can obviously see that Mercedes is a faster car in the straight than the Acura, so it's a chance. He's about 4 tenths behind. But I would say no, it looks like SCL is safe for now.
Greg slipped away a little bit as well, and if those two are having a fight, he might be able to build his gap a bit more.
Yeah, SCL is clear now, and he should be free to go and attack Greg now.
Jan didn't make a very good braking position there at Les Combes, so he's already lost a few tenths. And SCL looks like he's gaining on Greg.
Yeah, and if anything, you'd maybe say these guys are catching William, because even despite his spin, SCL is about 4.5 seconds back. You can see William there into Pool.
It might be with the accelerated tyre degradation. We're seeing that NSX now might have more. Oh, big slide there from Greg. Oh, and he's off. Oh, and he's had a spin.
He's managed to keep it out of the wall.
Maybe he's worn out his tyres.
Yeah, maybe the tyres are gone. Could have just been onto the curb or something, because that outside curb is deadly at Poolon. We saw Giovinazzi Bennett there over the weekend. Maybe Greg had a repeat of that, but all his hard work gone. Back down to 6th, and about 4.5 seconds behind Jan. So that will have
Maybe
ruined his
now's the time
tyres.
to pit for tyres in that Mercedes. It might have worn through them.
Yeah, it might be about time, and if they have gone, that spin's not going to help. So SCL...
Acura is gapping that Mercedes now in a big way.
Yeah, perhaps Jan might have been held up behind Greg's accident, but if not, it's 2.2 seconds. So SCL has a clear track to go and chase after William. It's about 3.5 to 4 seconds. But there's a chance. We'll keep an eye on lap times. Oh, that's Greg round again.
And Greg, another spin.
Could have overheated the tyres of that move at Poolon, and they might not have cooled down by then. But another spin, he's down to 7th.
It's very difficult to cool down the tyres in these cars. Once you have a spin, you overheat one side of the tyre. The differential will just mean that will spin that tyre that much more because you've lost grip on it, and that may be a result of that one spin has led to another, and that has ruined his rhythm, I bet.
Yeah, that's a very high possibility. One spin could just lead you into a downward spiral effect, as we see here into the pits in that very battered Ferrari.
Oh, that Ferrari looks like it's crabbing. Oh dear.
Yep, that is crabbing very badly. So he's had an incident somewhere, not caught on camera. As we see SCL, the man on the move right now. There's not really anyone close on track at the moment. There's Sean.
Is 4 seconds back from Will, and Ben is 8 seconds clear. No, 6 seconds clear of Apollo as well. This is Sean, all on his lonesome at the moment, just lapping round.
Yeah, last time I checked up with Sean, he was about 22 seconds behind fault. It's now 7.5. So he's gaining, despite, well, missing this corner he's at now twice, and getting caught up in an accident down between Liège and Poulon. Looked like he was ever so minorly caught in the accident, but it was enough to force him into the pits, and he finds himself in 9th after starting in 3rd.
Gaz is only doing a 21 at the moment, so, and Ben is matching that pace with a 21.1, just barely. SCL gap in that Mercedes that much more every lap at the moment, it seems.
Knowing Gaz, he's probably just in make the tyres last mode. I know what he is like.
I don't think you could make the tyres last an hour and 20 minutes.
You might just be making them last enough so that you can go perhaps a little longer and have better tyres if he's got that 10 seconds in hand. Or he's just in a try not to spin mode, as we see Greg is closing back in on Carl, down to 1.6. He's done a 2:22.0, 1.8 quicker than Carl, so
he's
that pace
closing in on Carl. He's clearly a fast car, but after that double spin, what a disappointment for him.
Yeah, a 2:22.0, still a good pace, so it's not taken that much out of the tyres, and hopefully with a couple of laps he might have brought them back down to a good level. But
rather annoyingly, we didn't see it on camera, but he lost it at the double left-hander, and just he lost 2 positions from that, and a good some seconds back from this car here, Carl, which he is now catching again, and will probably make light work of him at the rate that he's catching him.
Yeah, 1.8 seconds faster last lap. He's already closed a bit on
That's a huge margin.
Yeah, you also have Sean in 9th doing a 2:22.1 with Fault in front of him doing a 2:24.9. So that just shows how far back you can be put with getting involved in accidents.
The top 3 cars are in the 21s, and the rest of the field 22s, 23s, and 24.
Yeah, William back to about 6.5 seconds behind Ben, so it doesn't look like that gap's closing. There's SCL in the background. So it looks like, if anything, he's going to have to be fighting for his podium place, and he'll be thinking, how the hell is he there? He spun. But on the last lap, SEL 7/10 slower in the 22.4s. But it seems like he's making a charge for William in third. As Greg spun somewhere again, he's now 10 seconds behind Carl. So when I said he's maybe brought everything back down to a normal level, he might have just shot them all up again.
He might be overworking those tyres in frustration of having had that spin, and it's just, like I said, he's ruined his rhythm and really put himself off. I mean, this is a recovery drive at this point for him.
Yeah, we're about a couple of minutes away from halfway through this race. So if we're going to see stops,
Sean is just about 2 seconds back from, is that Fogarty?
That is Fott, 3.5 seconds. He was 2.8 quicker on the last lap. You can see Fott there in the foreground with the green Lamborghini Huracan.
I'm unsure about the tyre degradation with these cars. I'm not sure at what lap we will be seeing cars come into the pits specifically for tyres.
Yeah, we saw it on the last lap, as you can see there. William a 222A, SEL a 21.6. Even Ben was a 222.7. So 1.2 seconds for
best lap
SEL.
of the race now.
Yeah, he's dropped into the 2-minute 20s. Despite this mega high tyre deg, he's pulling out best laps. It was only really SEL that was anywhere near him, and even he was 7/10 back. Everyone else was nearly 2 seconds. There is Sean. He is catching Fott. You can see Fott there, just at the top of Radion. Under 2 seconds now.
Definitely closing in on that Lamborghini.
Yeah, as they go into the calm scene of Sean's horrific start.
Oh, a bit of a wiggle there.
Yeah, he's not even done it great that lap. He's back up to 2 seconds, that gap. And instantly coming down. You're going to see how much pace and confidence Sean has. Of course, he'll have fresher tyres than the people in front of him due to his stop, and is that...
Oh,
yep.
And there's the spin from the Lamborghini.
I thought I heard from the engine sound that the Lamborghini had spun, and he had. We saw that Lamborghini AMC also spin at Liège, but now it is Fott who has gone around there. That puts Sean up to 8th. And it's another mega far ahead car from Greg by 23 seconds. But we have seen Greg is susceptible to a spin so far. What about SEL? He's back into the 22s that time.
7 seconds between Ben and Will, and then SCL is 4 seconds, roughly 4 seconds back from Apollo. Then Jan is 5 seconds back from him.
Yeah, and Evil is now out of the race. We're down to 10 cars, so it's been half an hour and already 6 have fallen. There's race leader Gaz just controlling it out the front, going over a second quicker than anyone else. William was the nearest one, and he was near enough a second back.
Looks like the sun's starting to get a little low in the sky now as well.
Yeah, we can come on board with Gaz, see what it is like. Doesn't look too bad just now, but as time slowly progresses, some corners will start blinding drivers.
Definitely an issue when racing into the sun. You really get it in your eyes sometimes with this game. It's very piercing.
Yeah, there's a couple of races I've had where you're just absolutely blinded, especially if it's been raining or is raining. And everything is, the road's shiny, everything around it is shiny, it's horrendous.
You have to go into your camera settings and see if you can fiddle around with that. As SCL coming through the complex here.
Closing in, and
definitely
William,
closing down.
Over a second so far this lap. Yeah, I had one race at Le Mans coming into Indianapolis where it had been raining and the sun was setting. That was not fun.
Oh, a lift. He might have cut the corner there, and he's had to get out of it.
Yeah, that's
doesn't want to risk a big penalty.
Yeah, he already has a penalty. It is currently at 3 seconds. Sean's at 2 seconds.
See, one more and that could spell disqualification even. Oh, as Ben's into the bits.
He pits 35 minutes into the race, 40 to go. He is making his stop. Doesn't seem like any of the front runners are following him. Does Jan? Nope. So it looks like Ben is just making that
First
call
of the front
early.
running cars to come in.
Yeah, for scheduled stops at least. We've seen a couple of definitely not scheduled stops. So he's still setting still. Gaz with a 220.4. He's just...
I would imagine Ben is probably fueling to the end of the race now as well, and possibly taking on hard tyres to get in there as well.
Yeah, as we also see Greg coming in, the 68 Hot Wheels AMG. He will probably have the worst tyres out of anyone after having around 3 spins on that set alone.
Didn't look like they were changing the tyres, they went straight to refueling.
Yeah, you can see with the SCL's penalty he got at Paul Frere, he's gone from about 3 seconds up towards 5.5, but he's bringing it down. If anything, it does also look like Jan has caught a fair bit. In general, he's on a 222.2, which for
penalty
these front...
system in this game does seem to want to make you lose at least 2 seconds, up to 5 when you'd have to take one.
Yeah, they're very strict, and so of course sometimes they are not easy. The game doesn't quite tell so well if it should have been. You can get forced off and still get a penalty, but that's just how it is. It's the same for everyone.
In the previous game, it used to give you a timer, but in this game, it just seems to do whatever it fancies. It seems doesn't give you an exact period of time that you have to wait or slow down.
Yeah, I was never a fan of these slowdown penalties, but they're on for this race. As we are approaching about when drivers should be pitting. We're about a minute away from halfway. We've seen Ben and Greg also come in. Ben's come out in 6th, Greg's come out in 9th.
That was a long pit stop for that Ferrari. It's 56 seconds back from Gaz now, and it was only about 13, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he was
when
about
he came in.
13 or 14 seconds away. And now...
Oh, and a spin there from SCL!
Gathers it all up. Of course, that's where we saw him round earlier on the exit of bus stop. Has kept it pointing the right way this time.
He might be thinking about coming in for tyres at the end of this lap if that car's starting to lose traction.
Yeah, his charge for William is not going so great now between penalties and mistakes. So it looks like he has the pace, he's just not got the consistency so far. And every time that happens...
back in the 21s now. He did dip into the 20s, but I guess he's just conserving his tyres at the moment, trying to go long.
Yeah, he'll be just driving his own race. He's got a big enough gap that he can do what he likes.
Oh, he loves to manage his gaps, does Gaz?
Yeah.
Will's just dropped back a little bit in time. I just saw the time go from 17 seconds to 19, so he might have had a small mistake there.
Yeah, it does look like SCL's gone from over 9 to 8. So, oh.
Oh, a little wiggle there.
Yeah, perhaps that might be what he's done. It seems he probably lost the time around Malmedy. We know Malmedy is a very easy corner to make a mistake.
Might be he's gone one lap too long on those tyres. They must be really feeling it now with this accelerated tyre wear.
Yeah, as he comes through Puon up towards the Fanya chicanes. You can see how how hesitant he's being on the throttle in the acceleration zones.
It must be nearly worn out, those tyres. I mean, a small mistake like that and then being really light on the throttle. I would definitely come in now if this was me.
Yeah, one mistake on accelerated degradation and it can lead to a snowball effect. You get one slide, leads to bigger slides, and you can even spin and ruin them.
I mean, in this series they've got ABS, but a series without ABS, if you've got a nasty flat spot, I bet that wears those tyres out very fast with accelerated tyre wear. Yeah,
of course the drivers in this series are running realistic driving aids for the cars. William keeps going. He went deep into the bus stop. We've seen him do that a couple of times this race.
I know from personal experience that Mercedes is not very happy under heavy braking. Oh, and see, oh dear. That Acura is just all over the place at the moment.
He does not like that bus stop corner. He cannot.
It's possible his damper settings aren't right for those bumps, and it's really unsettling the car.
Yeah, as that is Carl in from 5th place. That's probably gonna bring him out somewhere behind Sean and ahead of Fott. So he'll be about 7th.
Depends how much fuel he's taken on. 35 minutes of running left.
Yeah, whether he needs to put some more in.
He's not taking on tyres. He's going to try and stretch it looks like.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how the replay animation works, because he could well be changing tyres, but it just probably doesn't show it for us. There's people there with tyres, so he very well could be. You would think with accelerated degradation they would.
Oh, CSL, they're taking out another bollard.
Yeah, I'm surprised one of them has made it this far. If I'm honest, the bollards never usually last long around here.
Gaz is still an alien. 17 laps and still dipping into the 20s. Oh, and there's the Lamborghini into the pits. It looked like it had been in the wall there because of that camera angle.
Yeah, it doesn't appear to have any damage, but he was going really slow in. Whether he'd perhaps misjudged how tight the entry was, but it doesn't seem to have any damage.
He may have locked up his brakes to avoid getting a pit lane speed penalty.
Yeah, there's Sean in 6th. He pitted a little bit into the race. Whether he is going to pit again or if he thinks he can get to the end.
Sounds like he's just having a little Sunday drive at the moment.
Yeah, I'll just do his own race and see what comes after. SCL wide out of
there
Paul
on
Frere.
Jan.
Of course, with SCL's inconsistency, Jan is closing in on him, and of course he doesn't have a penalty. SCL does.
His weakness is definitely that bus stop. We've seen that multiple times now across this race.
Yeah, as he comes into it now, he seems to spin a lot on the exit as he nearly loses it there.
Little dab of brake there, and the car really over-rotates.
Yeah, he doesn't like the mid-corner. We've seen William go deep a lot on the entry of bus stops, so neither of them are that happy with it. As we see Fott in the pits, he's just come out.
Will's 9 seconds ahead of him, and I don't see that Acura closing up anytime soon.
No, it seems he's just a bit too inconsistent to make it work. But get a new set of tyres on, we'll see what can happen in the second stint. See, Greg, he's now 6 seconds behind Carl, whether he's gained that through the pit stops or he's just been going fast. Well, it's 6 seconds, he'll be hoping to recover some of what he made up earlier.
Has anyone been lapped yet? Because surely those cars down in 9 and 10th are close to being lapped.
Yes, there is Fott and he has SCL behind him. So it seems like Gaz and William will have lapped him. He is in Liège. Gaz is at Stavolo. So yeah, Gaz is a good way ahead of Fott.
There's that yellow Lamborghini that had that crash early in the race on, was it lap 2 or lap 3?
Yeah, it was very early on. It is MC. He has been lapped by Gaz.
Still looks like his bumper's hanging off.
Yeah. It could just be... Sometimes for us in the commentary box it doesn't get fixed on our screen, so you can see people with absolutely crumbled cars, but for them it's completely fine. We're now at the half-hour mark nearly. Gaz goes deep.
Bit deep there for Gaz. I wonder if those tyres are starting to give up even for him now.
Yeah, a rare mistake from him. Ben got the gap down to 54.5. Not that he's going to be looking at Gaz, he's just going to try and consolidate his second place.
And then how inconsistent Jan and CSL are, Ben could potentially still make up a couple of positions and get himself a podium.
Yeah, of course, Ben has pitted, SL and Jan, in fact any of the top 4 have not pitted. Ben was second before the stop, so you would hope he comes out there, or you would expect.
Right, his last lap was 2 or 3 seconds faster than some of the cars ahead of him.
Yeah, SCL, does a 2:22.3, 1.2 faster than William. Jan does a 2:22.6. So, not that great a pace for these guys. And Gaz's still doing 21s, but Ben is the fastest car on track right now. So, you would think, realistically, if there's a time to pit, it's soon.
I'm not sure what the fuel usage in these cars is per lap, but I know you can put over 100 litres of fuel in them, so it might be some of these cars won't be refuelling at all, but they'll definitely have to take on tyres.
Well, we can see what fuel people have. Gaz has 50 litres, William has 52 litres, SEL has 58 litres. So you would think that should be enough to get them to the end. There's half an hour to go. They might maybe take on a little bit, but it's not going to be anything major.
Some cars might have to come in for a little splash and dash, but you lose a lot of time coming through the pits just to do something like that.
As MC and Ben have picked up penalties. MC has 1 second, Ben has 1 second, SEL still on 3 seconds, Sean still on 2.
If SCL comes under more pressure and he makes a couple of mistakes or goes wide or cuts a corner or two, he could see himself slapped with a huge penalty that puts him way far down from where he is right now.
Yeah, all these people like William and Jan and sort of Ben to an extent, he has 1 second, but they sort of have that get out of jail free in hand. SEL already has 3 seconds.
Slide there.
Well, if SEL gets into combat, he knows he has to keep it on the track or he could be slammed down on.
Just the other day during a race, I got hit with a 36-second penalty for cutting the track just twice by accident.
That is rather harsh. Here's Greg in 8th, 4.5 seconds behind Carl. Of course, Carl, also in a Mercedes, he's in the number 85. It seems like, actually, Greg to an extent is catching Sean. Sean is on quite old tyres now. He had his early stop after an incident.
Greg was a good 1.5 seconds faster last lap compared to Carl.
Yeah, Carl at 23.1, Greg at 21.8. So
Sean doesn't seem to be closing in on his teammate anytime soon.
No, that gap's gone from about 20 to 25 seconds since Ben has come out of the pit lane. For Sean, very old tyres. Ben, probably on quite new ones. Was a SCL in the last lap, 1.6 quicker than William. He has the pace to catch them, he just needs to cut out the mistakes. Because if it wasn't for the mistakes, you could probably already be ahead of William by now.
I believe that Acura started 4th or 5th. I think it was 5th at the start of the race, and it's up to 3rd, so it's still an improvement for that car, regardless.
Yeah, I think it was 4th he started. If you put Ben back where he should be, he'll be about
a bit
where
wide there. Oh, there's a slide! Oh, commentator's curse. He has a slide just as I'm talking about how well he's improving.
Yeah, as I just said, he was catching William, but the mistakes have ruined him. As we see there, he made another mistake, but somehow he's not lost any time to William, so maybe William's made a mistake somewhere.
He might be driving conservatively so that he doesn't have to get tyres, but I really don't see how you could stretch this whole race on one set of tyres. You'd have to be tiptoeing by the end.
Yeah, it just wouldn't seem worth it in the long run.
Maybe he's edging his bets on picking up softs towards the end of the race to try and keep his pace up.
It's a possibility. We're nearly, what, 50 minutes into the race. And the top 4 still yet to pit. I think everyone below has. Sheldon's was very early after an incident. But the top 4 still to come in this race.
There's Will coming out the bus stop.
Yeah, we suspected he's had a mistake somewhere this lap. Will the lap time back that up?
23, still okay.
Yeah, he was only
Maybe
8 tenths slower than his
here and
previous
there.
lap. SEL with a 24.2. He's about 5.5 behind.
I think lap times now are more compromised by tyres than mistakes than anything.
And we see Ben who's the highest up, who's pitted a 21.4, but I mean, Gaz 20.6. Clearly, whatever the tyres are doing, don't seem to be bothering him.
He's stretching roughly a second a lap compared to the rest of the field. I mean,
Yeah.
Will's doing well to only lose that much time to him because Gaz was about 7 or 8 tenths clear in the qualifying. So he is building roughly a second a lap gap to any car behind him.
Yeah, it was about just over 7 tenths in qualifying. He's got 25 seconds, and we're coming up to the end of lap 21, so yeah, about or just over a second per lap. And there is Jan. It looked like for a while he could be attacking SEL, but that doesn't look like it's going to happen anymore. It's faster
Both
last
those
lap.
guys have really struggled. Every time they look like they're closing and getting close, they just make a little mistake and undo that hard work.
Yeah, and it does look a bit like the front end of Jan's car is a little bent down on the right hand side. There is SEL, he's got it down to 4 seconds on this lap. It was about 6 when they started it.
I think the moment he gets to that bus stop though, if he's got to do it under the brakes, I think he might lose the car.
Yeah, it looks like he's fast as long as he's doing what he wants to, but if he has to make a move under braking, I'm not sure that Acura will give him a good response. Doesn't look like he's very quick on the straights.
And then come in the pits.
Yeah, the longer they stick out, the longer I'm thinking these guys might not pit, because we've got 24 minutes remaining now exactly.
I imagine mandatory pit stops are not on for this. Is a pit stop completely optional?
I'm not fully aware of the rules, but it seems like they might not be mandatory as it stands. Or you would have expected these guys to pit by now. I
think most of the other cars further down the order have pitted due to damage and other problems.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Ben pitted for, whether he thought...
Oh, little slide there from CSL.
Yeah, and you can see on the last lap, 2.4 faster than William, so he put a lap together and he was rapid. Yeah, you would have imagined if they had to pit, they would have done it by now. I don't see why they would do over 50 minutes on one set of tyres and then 20 on another. You'd imagine you want to try and balance out. But it seems, unless these front-running guys fall off, Ben might have lost his second place in all this, because he's down in 5th. Not making that much of an impact to the guys in front. He's 18 seconds behind
down
Jan.
Now into the high 21s. Those tyres might really be looking like they're wearing out now.
Yeah.
Will's definitely slower at the moment. I think he's really struggling on those tyres, hence why SCL's closing on him.
Yeah, and even though SCL has had a spin, he seems to not be doing too bad. He was well, just with Ben, the fastest car last time around. This is Ben who was pitted and presumably put on new tyres. He might not have, but I think he will have, because he had a very long stop.
Jan there, down there in 8th, Greg rather, down there in 8th with a 21.4. He's doing decent laps for this late in the race.
Yeah, he's 1.7 behind Carl. Well, might see a move for 7th. But that is a shame for Greg. He was up fighting with the likes of SL and Jan earlier, and he finds himself down in 8th and maybe making a move for 7th.
Early in the race he looked like he could have even had a shot at a podium, but just a couple of mistakes too many in a race this long. It's very damaging.
Yeah, and the other battle we might end up seeing is SL and William. SL is closing rather quick. Doesn't look like he's closed as much this lap.
Keep it together though.
I say that, the gap is now 1.8. It seems to be fluctuating a lot for some reason.
I think what it is, that Acura is good in the middle sector. It doesn't have the straight line speed of that Mercedes, and I think it's really hurting for it.
Yeah, you can see whenever they get into a straight bit, the gap to Williams go up and up and up, but it's down to 2.5 seconds. He was 1.2 quicker on the last lap.
You'd think with that Acura having a lower profile, it would be faster down the straights, but it really isn't.
Yeah, and Craig spun somewhere again. It seems he's gone from on the back of Carl to 7.5 seconds behind. So he's got 20 minutes to try and make that up.
Oh, the sun will definitely be in their face now.
Yeah, we'll have a look, see what it's like for some of the drivers. See, we're starting to get sunset. It looks like it will be over to the right just now. So it might be bad into maybe Ravage and sort of poo on.
This SCL catching on Will, the gap is as close as it's been, probably whole race now.
Yeah, ever since the sort of opening stint when SCL spun, this is the closest he's probably got it to.
A bit wide there. He had to get out the throttle, so he maybe didn't get a penalty or have a spin.
Yeah, we will check on his penalty. It's up to 4 seconds.
Ooh. One more and he could get really slammed.
Yeah, so his issue now is he has to get past William, which is a whole nother story other than catching. If he does get past, he has to make 4 seconds.
Well, that's the thing now. All Will needs to do is maintain 4 seconds back from him, which I don't think would be that difficult to do. And it's still his second position, so really he's got quite a large buffer there for second position.
Yeah, it seems maybe Ben pitting was a bad idea. If these guys don't have to. He's gone from 2nd to 5th. He's about 13 seconds behind Jan with 19 minutes to go.
Thing is, we don't know how warm their tyres are. They could be running very low. And in the last 10 minutes of this race, his fresher tyres could really come into play.
Yeah, we're again wide from SCL. We're not sure if these guys are going to fall off the cliff. William 23.7. Slightly worse lap from SCL.
Still very
22.6.
consistent despite being this late in the race as well.
Yeah, he's got the gap up to William. After Williams had a couple of laps in the 23s, he's up to over 30 seconds ahead, doing a 21.1. Fastest guy on track, and he's not pitted.
My guess is that the tyres on the on Will's Mercedes are much more worn than Gaz's, and Gaz is just able to keep it very consistent. And I think Will's just losing time, because we were saying earlier he was losing about 8 tenths to just over a second a lap to Gaz, but we're 24 laps into the race, and Will is now 30 seconds or so behind Gaz, so I think he's losing a bit more time each lap now due to tyre degradation, as SCL is clearly closing each lap.
Yeah, Gaz would have been in free air, can do what he likes, whereas William has been battling with people, which will not have helped, but he's clearly not feeling too great on those tyres. SCL is the faster car right now. He's down to about a second, and we've seen, even while he's trying to catch William, SCL have a couple of spins.
If Will was to pit now, I think that would roughly put him down to about 5th or 6th if he was to pit.
Yeah, so you would say for Will, the best thing is just to stay out and keep going. Seems like we're past the point of no return. Oh, slight correction from SCL and the Fanyas, as we are now. He
might be trying a bit hard now. He might be overworking those tyres.
Yeah, people can sometimes do that. They'll see their target and they just sort of try and give it that extra few percent. We've seen him lifting through Paul Frere there, trying not to go wide, not wanting more penalty. He'll know he's quicker. He has 17 minutes to try and do something. He's still got a lot of time. So that's very wide.
Grass there.
Very wide from William and Blanchimont. We will see what the lap times are.
Really hopping those curbs there, SCL.
Yeah, he's giving it his all this lap. Into the 24s for William. SCL of 23.2. That's still over a second quicker.
I imagine those tyres must be close down to being down to the canvas at this point. This many laps in with high degradation.
Yeah, the one thing William has in his back pocket is that Mercedes is a lot quicker than that Acura in a straight line. So if SCL is going to get it done somewhere, it's probably going to have to be in a twisty part of the track. As you can see the gap.
Bring up the rev counter. Let's have a see at the mile an hour figures on the straights between these two cars. So 256, 258.
161, and we saw probably about We'll check that next lap. We had 161 for William. Well, check what it is next lap for SEL. But you can just see the gap going up and up and up and up on the Camel Straight, despite having slipstream for SEL.
Obviously with these cars there's no DRS, and if he could get close enough that might be a factor. He's just gone wide there. Oh, and on the grass as well.
Yeah, no overtaking
Giving Will
assist.
some more breathing room.
No overtaking assist in these cars, so it's all down to the drivers. As SEL's dropped back a bit this lap, a scruffy couple of corners, starting at the column, ending at Rivage.
I think that's been the main difference between Will and SCL, is that Will, despite being slower, has just been more consistent. SCL having at least one or two half spins at the bus stop, and just making little mistakes here and there, running wide, lifting off, picking up penalties. Even right now, if the race was to finish now, he would still finish because of his penalties about 6 or 7 seconds back from Will.
Yeah, it's been his inconsistencies that have cost him so far. He has just over 14 minutes to try and repay for them.
Oh, we've lost the car. Greg's disconnected.
Oh, Greg has gone. That's a shame. He was fast, but
what
he was
a shame this late into the race.
He was fast, but he was unlucky today. A couple of mistakes, and he found himself going from the podium battle to battling for about 8th.
Oh, really spinning up the tyres there, SCL.
That's not how you do the bus stop, if anyone is wondering. That was not great.
If he's overheating his tyres, he's just costing himself more time and more stability on that car.
Yeah, William was 1.5 seconds quicker on that last lap, just to show you the extent of how much SCL had a bad lap.
I wonder if he's used up all his tyre to close the gap, and now he hasn't got the tyre to work to get past that Mercedes.
Well,
let's check with the mile-an-hour number down the straight.
Yeah, we saw 161 for William. $159. So
it's only a couple of miles an hour in it.
It could come down to
that Mercedes just has better acceleration over a longer period.
Yeah, it might just be that Mercedes gets to that speed quicker. That could make all the difference, as we saw SEL taking a slightly odd line through Le Combe, but he's 2 seconds behind William. He needs to just get his head down, get back in, and he can close back up and have another go.
With the GT3 cars, they have what I believe to be FIA approved gear ratios, so some cars have got better gearing for some tracks than others, because you can't really adjust the final drive or the individual gears on these cars as a balance of performance rule, as it were, in the sport.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember when I raced them, could we change them? And I can't honestly remember. I think we could.
You can adjust the final drive on some tracks, but not all, and it won't let you adjust singular gears. However, the GTE cars do allow you to adjust the final drive and the individual gear ratios. These cars don't.
Yeah, so that would be kind of like what F1 has. You pick one set of gear ratios for the year, so you've got to bring the same type of gears to Monaco as you do to Monza.
That must really hurt with some cars doing that.
Yeah, and we see if SEL has closed in at all this lap.
Really loves jumping across those curbs at the bus stop.
Yeah, he goes wide a lot out of it, but he loves throwing the car in. He was a couple of tenths quicker that lap, but a couple of tenths is not enough. Now. Yeah, you can see the sun setting over the Ardennes forest.
11.5 minutes left in this race, so that's about, what, five, maybe 6 laps.
Yeah, they should get... Where is Gaz? He's at Liège. So yeah, they should... Yeah, get about 6-ish laps out of this.
Sean and Ben still haven't really made time on any of their rivals either. Those Ferraris just staying in 5th and 6th.
Ben has closed on Jan. It's down from about 14 to 7 seconds, but does he have enough time? 7 seconds behind, 11 minutes.
How much fuel is Ben carrying?
Ben has
31
31.
litres.
We'll compare that to Gaz, who has 19. William has 22. SEL has 26. So Ben, perhaps either putting too much in at the start, or if he put fuel in his stop, he's put too much in. I'd imagine he would have started with too much.
I know the Ferrari has a slightly smaller fuel tank than some of the other cars, which may have compromised him a little bit, but yeah, definitely over-fueled for 10 minutes left of racing. He could easily be under 20 litres and probably still make it to the end of the race.
Yeah, and of course he could just turn the engine down if needed, but he has enough fuel. The SEL at about a second again.
Oh, another wiggle there.
Yeah, he still managed to keep the momentum up, but we're onto a straight.
He's really gaining on Will this time round.
Yeah, we're onto a
Look,
straight.
again on the straight, look, the gap just starts to go back up.
Yeah, SEL will have the slipstream, but even that is not enough to bring him in. You even see it on the Camel, he'll have the slipstream, but it just won't be enough to catch.
And he's really not very confident on his exits. Oh dear, and another mistake for the bus stop. He really doesn't seem to get good exits out of La Source either.
No, we'll see him this time around. Didn't lose too much, but a 2:22.1, a second faster than William.
Even if he gets past Will, all Will's got to do is maintain a 4-second gap behind him, which I don't think would be that difficult this late into the race, and it's still Will's position.
Yeah, he probably won't know that in the car, but that is a possibility. So, Will is wide out of Radion.
Oh. Let's see if he picked up a penalty at all.
I don't think he did. His name hasn't come up in red, so he's
Nothing
fine
yet.
for now.
He's really close now.
Yeah, we're at 9 tenths, 6 tenths. The corners is going to be where he is best.
I feel like it's a high possibility for SCL to get alongside him and then in over enthusiasm with the throttle potentially just losing the car once he gets alongside him.
Yeah, he is by far as close as he's ever been at 3 tenths.
Does he have the tyre and the grip? Taking the grass there on the inside.
So, SCL definitely the quicker car right now, but he doesn't have the straight line speed, so he's gonna have to do it somewhere. No,
the middle sector is his best bet, but it would be very difficult to get him through the middle sector. As he's now alongside him.
Yeah, Stavolo, probably not a place you can go around the outside. Has he got his nose in for Paul Frere? He does.
Whoa!
As you can see,
oh, that's very close.
Wells just pulling away, and now that we've got onto a straight bit.
Oh, it's close.
He's got the inside for Blanchimont. As it goes off.
To give it a little touch of brake. Oh, he's lost it. Oh, he's hit the wall.
He's hit the wall. That's a great shame for SCL. He might be okay. That was his best chance.
And that didn't put Will off. He didn't run deep into the bus stop, keeping it under control.
No, all we saw Will do was go wide at Blanchimont, and that really... Either that put SCL off...
3 seconds slower than his last lap, that lap. Jan is only 8 seconds back from them. I wonder if his car is getting better as this race goes on.
Yeah, if those two fight as well.
Look, Ben only 3 seconds back from him. 3 seconds back. So, as we come up past Radion onto the Kemmel Straight. Doesn't really look like the gap just does not close on the straight.
He gets 161, so in slipstream he does the same as Will does without slipstream. It's just an idea.
He gains multiple car lengths under the brakes, but then the moment they're on a straight, he's really trying hard to get that car to work for him.
Yeah, well, he's now at 5 seconds worth of penalties.
Oh dear, off the track there.
as Sean pits.
Clearly he feels those tyres are shot. Either that or they misjudged fuel. No, 42 litres of fuel. So he must be in for tyres or repair, potentially.
Yeah, his car does look pretty scrapped up, or scraped. We'll go back to this battle. That's going to drop Sean down to 7th.
Just under 5.5 minutes of racing left. I don't think SCL's got the tyre left to really fight that Mercedes.
No, Sean is out the race, but we have 5 minutes. Sean, SCL, sorry, has a 5-second penalty, so he's going to have to, if he wants this, get a move on William quick. As Ben 2.8, he's going to have to go a little bit quicker if he wants to get past Jan.
Gaz has just absolutely romped away this race, miles ahead of the competition.
Yeah. 43 seconds he has. 43 seconds in 30 laps of racing. He's pulled out a hell of a gap. That's over 1.5 seconds a lap. See SCL actually get a good exit out of Lecombe for once. But we get to a straight...
His middle sector is his strength, but he keeps making mistakes. That car clearly can do a good time, but I think the tyres just... Oh, and a bit of a cut there on Radion. Oh.
Yeah, he's definitely quick, but we're forever seeing him making mistakes. Primarily at Lecombe and Liège, where he seems to be making most of them. Still at 5 seconds, seemed to have got off with that at Radion somehow. So we have 3.5 minutes left.
Jan is about 8 or 9 seconds back. If SCL makes another mistake, he'd be giving away his podium spot to that mistake. Oh, and another slide there! He really struggles for that corner. That's 2 laps in a row now he's had a slide there.
Yeah, Ravage into Liège is where he seems to be making most of his mistakes. As a Ben 2.4 to Jan, there's still a chance there. He was 1.6 quicker.
On that Ferrari.
No, I think sort of Ben, Gaz and William are the only ones who will have a clean car by the end of this race.
A lot of lifting through those 2 corners.
Yeah, every time you make a mistake you'll lose confidence and those tyres are very likely gone. So, whereas Gaz, he's going out to the source, we'll have 2 more laps.
None of the front-running cars are pitted. Ben pitted, and I feel that may have been a mistake. He went from running, was it P2 or P3 down to P5?
Yeah, he was second. He was about 5 or 6 seconds ahead of William when he pitted. Maybe the Ferrari just can't do a full race on those tyres, but if he could have, he's thrown a good result away. Found himself fifth.
What it is, it takes so long for the pit stop to happen. It's that you lose so much time. I don't think it really wears... I don't think it really helps. You lose so much more time in the pits. It's better to just lose the time. Oh dear.
So another off for
SCL. Was that a wiggle or was that intentional?
I think he got a slight slide on the exit.
I need to go very offline there.
Yeah, as yeah, Ben will... Of course this is a pre-season, so he'll take what he's learned today and try and put it forward. If he could have gone to the end, he'll probably have got a second place, but yeah, in the time that he's been out there, he's only gained about 4 seconds on Gaz. And that's with a pit stop for probably new tyres, I would imagine.
Catching Jan.
Yeah, we're about a second. Looks like there's
going
to be...
which cars are set up well, because they very much close under the brakes.
Yeah, there's more chance of Ben making a move here than there is for SCL. Ben with a 1 second time penalty.
Means he still needs to pass him and clear him by a second in the next lap.
Yeah, of course, with where Gaz is, there'll be one more lap after this one for Ben to try and do something. As Gaz coming up the line, he is now starting his second lap. Or his last lap even, not second.
Second to last.
Ben 5/10 behind Jan. Of course, Jan in the Mercedes, a very quick car in the straight, but will Ben's superior tyre life be enough? Or is he running...
Ferrari has quite a bit of stability as well.
Yeah, Ben might be running a low enough wing setup to catch. But it doesn't...
Obviously he pitted for tyres, so he's definitely got the rubber to make the move.
Yeah, we might see a move in to the bus stop if Ben feels brave enough. No, doesn't look
Jan
like
might
it will be.
overdrive the car to try and keep ahead of him, and that's really not going to help him. Very close into the bus stop.
Ben taking the wide entry to get a straighter exit. Doesn't look like it's going to be enough for a move into the source. Jan feels the need to move right a little bit.
We know that Mercedes is strong on the straight, so if he can do Jan into Les Combes and then build a decent gap in the middle sector, it might be enough for him to secure that position.
Yeah, he has to get ahead and get a 1 second gap. Or is his tyres going to be good enough to get him a run out of Radion? It's about 4/10.
If SCL has a 6-second time penalty and Ben can get past him, if SCL made a mistake on the last lap, potentially that could still net one of these guys a podium.
Just like that,
oh,
a mistake.
There's SCL going off again.
SCL 6 seconds. There's a chance. Ben 8/10 behind Jan. Didn't have a great Les Combes. Oh, Ben has to do this quick if he wants P4. 7/10 and about half a lap to go. As,
like I say, SCL could potentially lose 2 positions because of his penalties.
Yeah, and we see Gaz come through the bus stop around turn 20 for the 32nd and final time, and he comes across the line to absolutely dominate this pre-season race in AOR. There we go, back to Ben trying to pass Jan and make a gap.
Will he go for a late move into the bus stop?
Yeah, he's not going to give himself much of a chance.
Looks like he's carrying a lot of speed.
Yeah, he'll have the corner speed, but just that Mercedes is too quick in a straight. We saw, actually, on the Camel Straight, the Ferrari hitting 266, or 166 in the slipstream. This is a chance, is 1/10.
Is it going to be a desperate attempt? If he's going to do it, he's got to at least try.
He cuts to the inside,
Whoa!
throws it down. Contact.
Little touch there, but that's totally legal, and he's got past him on the last corner on the bus stop.
But it's not enough. He's going to find himself drop back down. William took second, SCL took third, Jan takes fourth, Ben takes fifth, despite that late move. As Mick finishes fourth, Fault finishes eighth, and we're just waiting on Carl to finish. And see how dark it's got. He's at the Fania chicane.
Clearly then, the best strategy going by the top finishers was just to stay on one set of tyres and not even take fuel.
Yeah, just go from lights to flag. Ben pitted, lost a pretty comfortable second and finishes fifth. Would have been fourth, but he got an infringement somewhere and that puts him down to fifth despite his late move on Jan.
We ended up losing half the grid over either retirements and 1 or 2 disconnects, one early in the race and one late in the race. Greg, sadly, with only about 20 odd minutes of running left and he disconnected.
Yeah.
Shame for him.
Hopefully more finishing actually our races, but Carl will come across to take 6th place flash the lights. Obviously, very happy with that to an extent. So as we see the grid, Gaz wins by 47.3 seconds with a fastest lap of 19.8, only man in the 19s. William takes second, about 11 seconds behind SEL, most of that will be his penalty. Jan missed out on beating SEL by about a second, that's probably down to Ben's move, which lost him that time. Ben finishes 5th, over a minute behind Gaz, with Carl in 6th. A minute 17 behind Ben. MC 7th, 31 seconds behind Carl, and fought in 8th, 15 seconds off of MC, and that is your result. 8 drivers finished from 16 starting. So, Alex, how did you find that race, and can you sum it up?
That was very interesting to see those cars dropping off the pace. A few accidents here and there, sadly a couple of disconnects. But yeah, still very close at the end. A couple of cars making late moves, sadly due to penalties, meaning they didn't actually gain anything from it, which is disappointing for those cars, but still entertaining nonetheless. And yeah, some good battles between some drivers, and still room and respect given. I don't think there was any particular accidents that were, caused by overtakes. But yeah, it's very good. I mean, Gaz is just a machine, absolutely driving away from the rest, but yeah, it's frustrating for Ben though. Had he not pitted, I'm not sure how well he could have finished in the end. And SCL just, as we saw throughout the race, I mean, we was watching his car quite a lot during the middle and the end of that race. He was just very edgy and inconsistent for a few corners. Clearly, either the tyres weren't working very well for him, either that or just his setup of the car was not helping him through some of those corners. Very loose through the bus stop, and overall, yeah, very good, very entertaining race.
Yeah, so that was the pre-season race of AOR, the first ever live stream on the SBR Racing Group YouTube channel. The MRC GT leagues will also be streamed on this channel, where you can see Alex actually racing rather than commentating, but I'm sure one day we might be invited back to commentate on this AOR. So stick around, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and hopefully we can bring you some good races in the future. But for now, that is it for today. We will see you next time.